I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Pee-Wee, Tommy, Beulah, Meat.
What kind of man would do a thing like that?
Wendy.
It's my birthday today.
And the rest of the gang.
What are you up to?
Revenge. What are you up to?
Are bouncing back in the never-ending fight
Oh, Pee-Wee.
to party all night. Porky's 2, the next day. Rated R. Now playing at a selected theater near you.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and talked about the first Porky's, so I'm going to talk about Porky's 2, the next day. And if anyone wants to request any reviews, topics, reactions, pretty much anything, feel free to request it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. Now, Porky's 2, the next day, the title pretty much fits it. If you thought the night before was funny, wait till you see the next day. More of the raunchy comedy. Once again, directed by Bob Clark. And he was one of the writers of this. Now, the sequel was not nearly as successful as the first film, because the first film made over $100 million. I mean, it was a huge movie. The second one made about maybe 30-some million, so definite step down. And stuff like that makes me go, yeah, Porky's not as popular of a title nowadays as perhaps it was back then. Maybe it was a time where there wasn't a lot of options for people to see kind of a skin flick. You know, beautiful ladies bearing it all. Because I think even the American Pie sequels, they were still rather successful at the box office compared to like these movies. And Porky's 2 is not as good as the first one, but I did like it. I still had fun with it. I still got some chuckles out of it, but not nearly as much as the first. I mean, you get a recap of the first film, and once again, it's the characters, for the most part, the same cast. The people that don't come back, Kim Cattrall, she doesn't come back. The people who play the coaches in the first film, they don't come back, which is too bad because I liked them in the first movie, the two coaches. But you do have the guy who plays Pee-Wee, the guy who plays Meat, Miss Ballbricker, this girl here. And our teen characters you can see over there. And like I said before, these were the American Pie films of their day. And there is nudity in this flick, but it just seems a bit... something about it seems a bit tamer compared with the first movie. I don't know if they got controversy and thus they wanted to tone it down a little bit. And it is a movie that tried to have a bit more of a message about racism, Where the first film there was that bit where one guy was a bigot and then he learned to be better and he was a bigot because his father was a racist douchebag. But here more so because I would say one of the things that makes this a step down from the first is the plot's not as interesting as the first one. Because it has to do with this Shakespeare festival that the school is going to portray. But then the reverend and the church are against it because they think it's vile and filth. And then the teachers and classmate members are talking about how, well, the Bible's hypocritical because it has this and this in it. That whole struggle. Also, one of the new people in the film is a Seminole Native American. That's what they say. A Seminole Native American who's going to be a lead in one of the plays. And the Tay don't like that. But the Tay do get their comeuppance, so there's satisfaction in that. When it got into the whole plot of the Shakespeare play stuff, I didn't hate it. It was fine. Just something about it was just not as interesting compared to like the stuff they were doing with Porky, his club and all that in the first movie. I can't quite put my finger on it. And just wasn't nearly as funny. And that's not to say there's no laughs. Pee-Wee, he's still a guy, even though he got laid in the first film, he's still thinking about sex. I work in pussy. You know what? Your sister's such rhinoceros dick. Which I've never heard that before. Or one of them is going to be in the play as a fairy, and they make fun of it. Oh, so you're playing the big fairy. Well, that's good casting. Granted, not PC nowadays, but it's meant for jokes and laughs. Don't take it too seriously. My favorite part of this movie that I'm mad they did not carry over in the third film. That's one of the reasons why I think the third film is the weakest. I like that they try to build up the Pee-Wee character and this girl named Wendy, who was in the first film. In the first film, she did this thing where she found this oversized condom and put on his head and fucked with him. And she's the one who let Pee-Wee have sex with her at the end of the first film. And he said, oh, you just did it with me because this. It's like, no. I haven't been with many people. And yeah, I get this reputation as a slut, but I'm not. And the reason I got the reputation is because of this and this, but it had nothing to do with what a slut actually does. And I wanted to do that because I liked you. So the Pee-Wee Wendy stuff, that was actually kind of heartfelt. And it was kind of nice that, they were bonding with each other and fall in love with each other. I thought that was one of the best aspects of this film, and for some reason they completely ignored it in the third. Probably because different writer, different director. Because Bob Clark helped in the writing and he directed this one and he did the first film, but the third film, Bob Clark had nothing to do with it. So I wonder if that's why, which was, yeah, disregard, fucking stupid. But I'll get to that. You have certain jokes that, like when the principal is arguing with the reverend, he says the line, "Get the flock out of here." Which is not the first time I've heard that, because years later that same joke would be used in Lethal Weapon, because Mel Gibson says the same thing. Let's get the flock out of here. Which is a lame line, but whatever. And I'm sorry about the glare, it's just the windows are glaring up the... there's nothing I can do about it. So, it is what it is. That is annoying the piss out of me, the fucking glare. Well, it seems like heaven is behind me, so I'll go with it. Heaven is a place called Earth. And it's back there behind me, apparently. And you still get the shenanigans. Miss Ballbreaker, they put a snake in the toilet to steer the shit out of her. But I guess that's the thing. There's not a whole lot of shenanigans, like randomness. I mean, once again, they have a bit where Pee-wee's trying to steer them for those guys steering him in the first movie where he ran off being naked, but instead it gets turned on him and he gets steered again and the cops pick him up again. So it just didn't feel there was that many random shenanigans compared to the first. And the ones that were just kind of a repeat of the first movie. So, like the snake in the toilet was Miss Ballbreaker. I guess that's why you have this scene here with the toilet paper. Because there's no other... Like, the toilet paper doesn't come to play in any other way, so I don't know why that was part of a marketing. You know, the third act, they get their comeuppance, the Tay guys, because they lead them into this gym, and everywhere there are Native Americans sitting there ready to beat the fuck out of them. Or this asshole commissioner, Wendy goes in, because she knows he wants to do stuff with her, so to get revenge on him, she plays this character, I'm 17, hey, Bubsy Wusley, you know, just fucking with the guy. That was entertaining to see the guy get his comeuppance. Certain lines of dialogue, your ass such canal water. So, like you said, the movie, it's still fun. As a fan of the first film, it was still nice to see these characters again. It was nice to see these characters again, but I can't sit here and say it was that great of a movie. I mean, just some of the actual plot kind of weighed it down. It just wasn't nearly as interesting. But yeah. With that said, if you like the first film, you watch the second film, but I would still watch this over the third, because like the stuff between Pee-wee and Wendy, those characters, that was nice. The way the characters get the comeuppance on the Tay guys and that felt at least different from the first one. That portion at least did feel like redundancy, which is kind of sadly in the third film, because you bring the Porky character back. It did feel a bit redundant. So Porky's 2 the next day, I still like it. It's still alright. But I think it could have been better. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.